Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to another update here on this Thursday night. It is the Earthmaster here, July 25th, 2024. Just about done with July already. Goodness, it's been a hot month out here in California. About 10:21 p.m. here, California time. Latest activity on the globe shows a three-pointer underneath North Island here. Getting a little bit of deeper movement quakes here in this area. We'll continue to keep an eye there on the New Zealand region. Also, I think it's pretty noticeable there in Hawaii. Still seeing a little bit of swarming going on there. So let's start off here in the Central Pacific, where we're still seeing quite a bit of earthquake activity ramping up here on the upper east rift zone of the Kilauea Volcano. Now, as far as I know, we haven't seen any eruption as of yet. Still sitting at a yellow and advisory. Let's go ahead and check out a couple details here, see what's going on. Latest update was put out today, it looks like, early this morning. The volcano currently not erupting, and the upper east rift zone continues with a pulse of increased seismicity starting around 10 a.m. Hawaii time there. A couple different pulses here. Over 500 earthquakes have been detected in the past 24 hours. Goodness. Including 12 magnitude 3 or greater. So things are still quite elevated here. Additional seismic pulses or swarms may occur with little or no warning and could result in an either continued intrusion of the magma in the area or eruption of lava, better known as a fissure, right? Eruptive fissure there. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that for sure. Let's go check out the data and see what's going on here as far as the seismograph stations go. They said 500 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. Goodness, that's quite a bit. They were talking about that little pulse right here, about 10 o'clock. What did they say, about 10 o'clock Hawaii time there? Let me go back to the monitoring station. That's 48 hours. Here's the past 24 hours. No, that would be earlier. I think earlier in the morning there, 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning. That increasing earthquake activity, as you can see right here on the chart. Lots of earthquakes in that mix. Since then, over the afternoon and early evening, yeah, things have kind of mellowed out slightly here across the area. But, you know, don't let that fool you. It's been doing that. It's been going through a little periods of increasing activity. And what I find odd is, well, this is the last 48 hours here. It appears as though the impulses here of the seismic activity in terms of increased multitude counts here occur early in the morning. About, it looks like between 4 and 7 o'clock in the morning today, and then the previous day there, yesterday, was between about 9 and 11 a.m. So I wonder if that's got any type of significance to that, some type of pattern. But it does calm down for a little bit, and then we get this increasing pattern of earthquakes here across the upper east rift zone. So I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow morning, see if we get that increasing pulse of extreme earthquake activity. Might have something to do there with the Earth, this side of the planet facing the sun, potentially, right? Maybe some type of magnetic pull, possibly. We'll get to space weather here in a little bit. There's a surprise solar storm coming in here tonight. Far as the tilt meter goes here in this area, let's take a look and see what we got. Still going up. There's when that intrusion took place here a couple days ago, we've seen that earthquake swarm really ramp up. We've seen a loss of magma at the summit area, and then an increase specifically in this area of the upper east rift zone. It since has mellowed out slightly, but you know, we still got to watch things out here. Far as the overall deformation data of the summit area, still going down. Look at that. That's crazy. But that's because that magma has shifted off further to the southeast, the upper east rift zone there. So it's no longer sitting at the summit. At least a good portion of it isn't. I mean, we lost a lot of volume right there. Not really a month period. You know, not really a month in terms of inflation, but I'd say at least a week. Maybe a couple weeks there worth of inflation. But again, it's sitting off into the area here of the upper east rift zone. Right here in this area. So we've been watching a little bit of bouncing back and forth here between two separate locations. Yesterday was more on this area. Today, more up here a little bit, closer to the crater area up here, Lava Lake, Kilauea Summit region. But still, I think we're going to see some activity here soon, very, very soon. All right, let's check out the rest of the earthquake activity out here. As you can see, hold on a second here. Yeah, there was only one here, or a couple in the last hour, it looks like, huh? A couple in the last few minutes. Yeah, that is crazy. All right. Northern California, a little spike out here north of Willits, just off the 101 here in Northern California and off the Macama Fault. Nothing big, little 2.3. The rest of Northern California out here fairly quiet, aside from the big fire going on. We'll cover that again at the end of this update video. Pacific Northwest, relatively quiet as well. A couple smaller quakes here near the north of Salem, Oregon, here in the valley. 1.5 and a 1.2. Those are fairly deep, though, about 15, 18 kilometers deep here. Let me check out the tremor map here, see what we got for Cascadia tremor. And yeah, surprisingly, got just a little bit here, about 17 epicenters of tremor south of Salem. South of the Salem area where we're seeing that little bit of earthquake activity, but nothing big. I think yesterday was roughly about the same count and in the same area. But we'll continue to watch that as well. The rest of California, let's check out Southern California, see what we got. There's not a whole lot in the Bay Area of Northern California, so I'm going to skip that. Shoot down south here. Really nothing of any major interest. We did see a 2.4 or 2.5. Oh, 2.4, excuse me. Been a crazy day. A little bit of small microquake activity out here across the San Jacinto Fault Zone and the extreme southern end here of the San Andreas Fault, but really nothing major going on here for now. Into the Yellowstone area, where we had that hydrothermal explosion here, not volcanic related. Well, I mean, it's obviously a hydrothermal explosion that took place around a supervolcano, but it's not in relation to any uptick in volcanic activity there across the area. Let's check out the Yellowstone map here real quick. See what we have. Wind. We've seen a lot of wind earlier. I pointed this out in the morning update. There was quite a bit of wind that came through here. Gusts up to 40, 50 miles per hour across the park. And that's what you're seeing there in the darker blue readings there on the graph. No earthquake activity. Out here in the oil fields of Texas and Oklahoma, roughly about the same as this morning. One little lonesome earthquake here early this morning in Virginia outside of Richmond. A little 2.3 shaking things up out here. Been a trail of earthquakes out here across the East Coast in the last week or so. Really nothing big. Just letting us know that the North American plate is still, you know, it moves out here a little bit. Nothing big, though, for now. It can get some big ones. Let's see, Caribbean plate, fairly quiet. One earthquake here this morning into the Venezuela area, 5.0. Looks like we got a 4.2 following that quake over here across the Middle America Trench, fairly deep. These deeper quakes do tend to strain this area here, the little Caribbean plate. So keep an eye on that region here. South America, fairly quiet. Only a couple earthquakes showing up there on the map. Including a 2.6 just now. New Zealand, as I mentioned, a couple threes stirring up down there. Awfully quiet here across the northwestern and the southwestern area of the Pacific Plate. A little bit of clustering going on here, but really not that big of a deal. A couple earthquakes there in Taiwan, southward through the Philippines. And a little swarming pattern over here across the Java Trench that may be leading to something. It looks like a couple fives over there stirring up in this area off the coast of Sumatra. USGS only showing one earthquake, but there's a handful of smaller quakes here into the Java Trench as noted on the globe. A couple earthquakes out here across the Middle East and the general Mediterranean region. Seen some twos and threes. Nothing major going on there for now. That earthquake down south from early this morning, late last night, I think, if I remember right, down in the South Sandwich Trench, 5.8. Nothing going on here across the Atlantic Ocean, but Let's go check out Iceland, because the reason why I need to check out Iceland more is because we're getting close to the level seen in terms of, whoa, that's a decent earthquake over here. 4-pointer. Well away from the Grindavik area, but what I try to point out is watch for elevated earthquake activity across the general rift zones out here, and that will amplify the conditions here across Grindavik and the Svartsengi area. And right now it looks like things are kicking up a little bit here. And bring up the all magnitude, shows some of the extreme microquakes and negative quakes here. A little bit down here across the Grindavik area. And there is a little concern that we could see some eruption activity there in and around Grindavik. It was noted there from the Icelandic Met Office. Let's check out the latest 8-hour runtime series here for inflation across this area, because we're getting up there. We're getting up there to the inflation point, the level seen prior to our last eruption there back in the end of May. Here we go. Here's the Grindavik north, east, and vertical displacement here up. Missing a couple days here of the data, but as you can see, we're still going up here. Here's our last eruption. We're above that now. Last eruption there prior to, well, this was the last inflation prior to the last eruption. Went down a little bit. Obviously, the volume of magma from below got depleted, and now we're up again. So it's just a matter of time. Watch the earthquake activity. That is the key to figuring out when this next eruption is going to take place. I don't think it's going to take place right now. There's just a small amount of earthquake activity down there across the Svartsengi area, but we'll know. It'll come in a big swarm and only a short amount of time period before that eruption happens. Let's see what else we got. Alaska area up north. Just a trail of earthquakes out here across the Aleutian Trench, but really nothing of major interest there for now. Space weather activity, you're getting a little bit of auroras coming in out of the blue. I do not think they were calling for a solar storm tonight. What's going on? Where did this come from? Kicking up here. Look at that, the auroras there. Northern latitude states here may see a little possibility of seeing the auroras down there in Antarctica too, if I got any viewers down there. The detailed forecast out here for tonight was, as you can see, just I think the KP index was supposed to be around a 3 or so. Weren't really expecting anything. Tomorrow, the 27th here, tomorrow's the 26th, the next day, early UTC time. We were supposed to get something there in the KP index up around a 4 or so. Maybe a G1 class storm, KP index of 5. So it's very possible that this activity we're seeing right now is an early arrival of what we were expecting here tomorrow sometime. Tomorrow night, early, late Friday night, I should say, early Saturday morning. Look up here on the Boulder station, showed a huge uptick in the KP index here, but for the most part, we're only observing around a, looks like maybe a 4 or so in terms of the KP index. So the auroras are possible up here. If you get a chance, go outside and see if you can spot that right now. Let me run over to the real-time solar wind. Real-time solar wind data right here. And we'll see what we got. Well, wow. There's one of the reasons why we're getting that aurora activity. That BZ component is way pointing south here, south of this line. That's good. Also seen something really, well, is that the CME? I don't know. We didn't really see any density kick up. A little bit of elevated speed here in terms of whatever just came in. But yeah, that's a little odd here. Just yeah, I mean our magnetosphere here letting some solar wind stream flow in and create these auroras. Really, I don't think it's that event that's forecasted there for the 27th. But whatever's coming in is kicking things up here. All right, so a couple days ago, a few days ago, there was a pretty far side. There was a far side event here from a big CME on the backside of the sun. They're estimating that to be an X14, which would be the strongest solar flare of the solar cycle 25. That was not facing Earth. Had that been facing Earth, we'd be looking at maybe potentially some issues going on. That's a pretty strong flare. And if it did produce a big CME. Had that been Earth directed, we'd be looking at a pretty nice aurora event. But this is not from that. This CME on the far side was shot off away from the Earth, and unless it decided to make a loop-de-loop here and make a U-turn, but I don't think space weather works that way. It's got laws it needs to follow. Kevin here believes that's from old sunspot region 3738. Got an image right here from this area, which is roughly center disk on the far side, probably a little bit closer here, over here towards the eastern limb now, but that's a fairly nice looking sunspot in terms of size, but it produced a massive flare, massive CME. X14 is what they figured here that flare was on the far side. No major flares right now. Looks like we've seen a little bit of M flare activity here recently in the last hour. Very impulsive M flare. And let's take a look here at these magnetogram images, see what we have. Really not a whole lot of complex sunspots out here. A couple different ones. But, yeah, the overall threat's not all that huge right now. I don't think we'll see any X-flare activity. But it is producing some C-flare and a little bit of minor M-flare activity. I'm just going to have to look into that. It's weird. This was uncalled for. All right, fires. Fires, man. Big fires out here in Northern California. I was out here streaming the park fire earlier today. Big fire, and it continues to grow. Look at the size of this thing. 124,000 acres. This was put out, they updated this not 20 minutes ago. This was put out a couple hours ago, so I'm sure it has burned more. What I'm going to do is turn off the fire perimeters here, and I want to show you guys these hot spots that are being picked up. These are satellite-based hot spots, okay? So this is where active fire is burning. Unfortunately, we got a little bit of back burning here across 32. Even though the wind's coming up from the south east here, it's still burning up these canyons, down the canyons, and unfortunately, you know, if this thing really starts to get going, it could run into the Paradise area, which is right here. Parts of Paradise are underneath a evacuation warning here in the yellow. Evacuation orders here in the red, and as you can see, that extends all the way up north here. But yeah, I mean, it's a little sketchy. We got a little bit of hot spots being detected that jumped over 32. There's a lot of stuff to burn out here, so we'll see how this goes overnight. But satellite imagery telling us that it's hot. We've got some fires out there. Older images right here in the orange, or older fire signatures in the orange. The red color ones are the more newer ones, newer hot spots. And as you can see, they're heading north, heading to the northeast as well. Big fire, 124,000 acres. One of the fastest growing fires I have seen in a long time. So 3% containment as well. Not, I mean, it's no way to really get a handle on that. And once it gets up here into the mountain ranges, we're talking about you know, issues trying to put that out. There's no way. All right, what else is there? I think that's about it, folks. I wonder if we can see any of this on the... Ooh, let's see here. I'm going to zoom in here, see if we can see that fire. A lot of these cameras are pointing towards the fire, like this one right here. Is this one operational? Oh yeah, I could see a little bit of the fire there. I'm sure I could see it if I were to go out and get a clear view of the east here, but I don't want to get bit up by mosquitoes. That's just one. Look at this one right here. Goodness. This is Bald Mountain Butte 2. I think that's the one that showed that fire tornado earlier today. Oh man, look at this one. This camera is actually pointing down. The fire's actually made it to where this camera is. That's Cohasset. Show on map. So that's going to be right up here. Still got these little fires burning. What about this one up here? Yeah, it's getting closer to this area as well. So a lot of spots. I mean, it's crazy how the wind will blow these embers downstream or upstream, downstream, and start these spot fires. Crazy. But this is a little cool site to check out if you got time tonight, want to look at these cameras. It's the alertcalifornia.org site that shows all these cameras around the area. And that's a big fire, folks. So here's a view from Chester area. Luckily it's not up there yet, but hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully they get a handle on it. All right, I'm out of here. Have yourself a good night. Seismograph stations there all look functionable. They're quiet for now. Keep an eye on Hawaii. Obviously, you know, something's going to happen here eventually. I mean, probably coming up on thousands of earthquakes now in the last week. Stay safe out there. And we'll chat you guys later sometime tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Made it to the weekend. Have a good night, everyone.